back, everybody.
Welcome back.
We got some fun stuff today. If this is your first time tuning in, uh, glad to have you here. If this is your second, third, fourth, even fifth time back, if you even watched our first test run, then you're a true fan. Um, yeah, we got some good stuff to talk about. H-1B visa abusers. We got food stamp fiends. Running out of food stamps.
And AI is taking the jobs.
AI is taking the jobs. We might be royally cooked in the Gen Z lingo. So yeah, we got some good stuff today. We got something new to try out. We'll keep that a
We do.
secret until we do it. But so I think we should start with I think the most I get something that's just looming, right? The government shutdown, and we've recently found out that 42 million people are set to lose their SNAP benefits. Um, that's what is that 12% of the entire country set to lose benefits to assist them in buying food for themselves, their kids, or whatever else they end up buying with that money. I think that is insane. I did not know that number, but
Yeah, I
now
think
that
we
I
looked
do, it's
we looked
mind blowing.
beforehand. We looked beforehand. It was what ages like 18 to 57 or something like that is the majority of users, which is a wide range. But
Yeah. Also, 41. Oh, in 2024, the study I read it said that 41% of infants um, consume food using SNAP.
that's crazy.
I think, like, are we a society that has just become reliant on the government for everything? I guess, like, you don't want to bite the hand that feeds you, but the hand that feeds you also is the hand that can starve you. I don't think
I
any
think
people realize that.
I mean we kind of talked about this last week, and I think it just becomes easier. Once you get on them, and I'd say the majority of people don't work that are on them. It just becomes such a routine.
Yeah, I mean, and you see all these videos, right? And how much does a video really represent the the overall group of people who are receiving these benefits? It doesn't. It's not entirely representative, but you do see videos of people saying that it's the taxpayer's responsibility to pay for me and my family to eat. And that actually makes me want to say no, you can go fend for yourself. I don't care.
Yeah, that pisses me off. And the thing is, there's actual people that need the help, and there's people that I sympathize with that are going to lose these benefits
Yeah, there are definitely
come
people I
November 1st.
sympathize
But
with that are harmed by just these low life people that just refuse to work and are perfectly capable. Like veterans, people that are truly disabled and have the whatever condition or injury or whatever leads them to have a difficult time doing tasks or what. Not that that means that you can't work specifically, but I think if there are to be if there is that gray area of you're partially disabled, maybe you can still have the ability to receive certain benefits from the government, but you have to show that you're actually contributing something to society, whether it's like at least working part-time or something.
it just seems like too often it's a small group of people that ruin it for the majority, in the sense that, I mean, you kind of said this, that there's people who are abusing it, and there's people who put out those videos that saying the working class should be paying for their food and they don't want to work. And it hurts the people. They could be essentially taking that away from someone who actually needs it, in the sense that maybe if we didn't have to throw so much funding at it, this might not be happening.
And I'm really concerned as to where this leads in the coming week. So they're set to officially expire until the government reopens. They're set to officially expire on Sunday, November 1st. And there's already been a, a bunch of videos coming out from people saying telling both saying to the grocery stores and to shoppers, you need to be careful. Like, get out of my way. I am coming. I'm getting my food, and you will not stop me. I think there are certain
Yeah,
areas where you could probably get away with this sort of thing, but I think there are certain places, specifically high concentrations of Republicans or conservatives, you might not want to engage in that behavior unless you plan on getting shot,
Yeah,
or
you
unless
see the
you're okay
videos
with
of
getting
people saying,
shot.
"Oh, I'm gonna eat regardless,"
Yeah,
and they don't blatantly say it, but you know what they're insinuating.
yeah. There's
Yeah,
the
and I
the
can't see it
the
ending
chance
well.
of theft, looting, robbery at gunpoint. I mean, how desperate can someone? People are going to be very desperate if. I mean, granted, this is going to be the first week.
Mhm.
Say it goes another 2 weeks, right, and nothing's changed. The government's still closed. None of the benefits have gone out. I do think that there needs to be serious reform and serious kind of reevaluation of the guidelines and the standards that you need to qualify for SNAP benefits. I don't think 42 million
So
people should be on SNAP.
let me ask you this: do you think this specifically, the SNAP issues, is going to be, I don't know if the leverage is the word, or incentive for Republicans and Democrats to come to some sort of consensus on the government shutdown, on the healthcare funding that's causing this whole
I
thing?
mean, I think it is.
And then I
Yeah,
guess a
go
follow up to
go
that
on.
is, should this be a reason that they come to a consensus?
No, obviously the reason that they should come to a consensus is because they think that the government should be at least adequately funded. Not necessarily. I mean, it's almost a guaranteed thing that it's going to be overfunded and that there's going to be a deficit created by whatever they pass.
Mhm.
But to say that we're only like we have more, I think it's just adding pressure. Now each side is going to leverage that in a way that the Democrats are going to say, okay, you don't want to, you know, come to the table with us, so you don't think that 42 million people deserve to eat. And the Republicans are going to say, well, you are the minority in the House and the Senate, and you don't want to swing 5 or 6 votes our way to get any sort of spending bill through. So who's really holding um, SNAP beneficiaries hostage, right? Is it the minority in the Senate that to pass a bill that they really want, they have to bring a lot more people in their direction than the majority, who has to bring just a few votes in their direction in the
Mhm.
Senate? I think it's hard to say that the two sides are on an equal playing field here, because I think the side that has majority is really has the upper hand here. I mean, you still need 60 votes to pass it. Don't get me wrong, but and it can be pretty hard to get 5 or 6, as we've seen, because it's been what 27, 28 days now.
Almost a month, yeah.
So I don't think I don't really know. I don't think that this is good leverage, but I think this exposes like a deeper rooted issue. I mean, I didn't know about how many people were actually receiving these benefits until the stories came up about how many people were going to lose the benefits. It wasn't really even something I thought of.
Yeah. So how do you think you combat that issue? How do you think you reduce the amount of people that are on these SNAP benefits?
I think no matter what you do, there's always going to be um, people that are going to be on the short end of the stick. Like, there's no way in dealing with these benefits, people are going to have to get cut off of these benefits, right? Like,
Sure.
it's just a fact. You're going to have to tighten the standards, tighten the qualifications to receive these benefits in one way or another.
Do
I
you think
think
there's
there should
people on
be.
them
I
that
think
don't
there should.
necessarily need them?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a statistical impossibility that everyone on there needs to be on them. And
Mhm.
granted, these numbers include families, and like more than one person, right? It can include kids as well.
It's people who rely on them, not necessarily people who are on them.
Yeah, but it is in your legal name that you are receiving the money and you are using the card at the store to buy the stuff, I think there should be a work requirement if you're not medically disabled or a veteran. Because I honestly don't mind, like, or maybe a disabled veteran. I don't really know what the qualifications are now, but I don't really mind some of my tax dollars going to pay for veterans to buy food. Veteran
Hmm.
homelessness is one of the is I think is a huge problem, and
Yeah.
the PTSD that they deal with coming back from conflicts that we didn't even need to be in the first place. I don't mind my tax dollars going to fund some of that, honestly. I don't know what you think, but I think you'd probably agree
No,
with me
I
there.
agree. I do agree with you there. Yeah, I do mind my tax dollars going to someone who thinks they can get away with not
Yeah,
working
people
simply
who
because
are
I'm paying for
bums
their food.
really.
Yeah.
And when you say to me that taxpayers are need to pay for me and my kids to eat, yeah, no, I don't think so. That's you're not gonna win anybody over trying to argue that.
It's the people who think it's become a right instead of a privilege.
Yeah, you really don't know how lucky you are to be in a country that can just subsidize you entirely. And that doesn't mean
Mhm.
they're just on food stamps, right? They could also be receiving unemployment benefits. And
Sure.
the claim can be made that it's hard to find a job in this country. Yes, I know. I agree with that. The numbers don't lie there, and we'll get into that more in this episode. But at the same time, there are things that you can do. And before this welfare state that the government created, we had communities that actually cared about each other. People were involved in church communities that helped in situations like this. You didn't just immediately go and look to the government and say, "Where's my money?" and then get
No, and I
mad
think
when
that
they didn't
still goes
provide it to
on.
you. And that yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I think that still goes on in some more rural areas. Um, but I have you ever? I've never looked at the demographic of where the majority of people are.
that
But
receive.
if
I
I
would
had
assume it's probably cities. I'm
big
sure that
cities,
there are
yeah.
some low income rural areas that um, are extremely poor that people receive benefits as well. But
Hmm.
um, I would guess that it'd be cities. Just makes the most
Yeah.
sense. But I think there needs to be a clamping down on the standards. I don't think that we can continue on like this. And if I think it looks bad, 42 million people all of a sudden losing these benefits because bad things. I think bad things will happen. I hope that they don't. I hope everyone can contain themselves and help each other out. I don't really feel bad for the people who are saying that my tax dollars need to pay for their food if they're not disabled, but even if they are
Mhm.
disabled, like my tax dollars don't need to pay for your food. Like,
No, but I sympathize
but I
with
sympathize. Yeah,
a
yeah. I
majority of or
sympathize more if you
with the
actually have a
population of the
reason.
people. Yeah.
But I think we need to be vigilant going forward. Something, if nothing is passed, I mean it's Thursday, right? We got one day before we really figure out if anything's gonna happen. If they could just pass a SNAP funding bill, for all I know, right? Maybe there's been
Mhm.
some talk about that, but I think going into next week, that with the threats on the internet that have been made to grocery stores and shoppers, I think people need to be at least be wary, be vigilant,
Yeah.
um, because it could get bad, and depends on where you are. I think I think California could be really bad. I
Mm.
think some of the big blue cities in the country could be really bad. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know where we go from here. You can't just eliminate the system and say, "Oh, we're going to revert back to the old system of relying on each other in church communities," because that's
That's not even an option anymore.
42 million people.
Yeah.
You've created um this massive people and money because of the offer that you've allowed them to accept. The government has created this. It's not like if the government said, okay, we're going to limit the amount of beneficiaries for SNAP to a certain number every year, right? People would be who didn't get them would be forced to find other ways. Maybe they'd be forced to work. There's no incentive to work if you're receiving money for food and you're also on unemployment, possibly money for whatever else, and there's no incentive to work. There's no incentive to actually try to make it on your own.
That's what I think the issue is. I think that's what's causing so many people to be on them is there's no longer an incentive to work.
And I think um, in the 20th century, I think it was different. I think people saw it a little bit more as a helping hand, kind of use it temporarily, and maybe that's something in the future that we should. That's the idea that we should revert to, but in the sense of limiting the amount of time that you can receive, like limiting the number of months or whatever that you can receive food stamps before. Like, okay, we've helped you for this long. Now you
Yeah.
got to figure it out, or at least like during the time that you're receiving these benefits, you need to be on a path to which in 3 months you will not need to rely on them as much or at all, right?
Hmm.
I don't think
It
there's an
should be a
exact time frame, but
for the a lot of people. It should be a help get back on your feet kind of deal.
it shouldn't be a dependency
Yep.
because like it's creating an unnecessary tax burden for a country that's economy realistically is declining. The workforce is declining. It's not getting easier. I think this kind of goes into um, we can move right into like the huge layoffs that have been happening, right? So um, I want to pull this up. I think this is I know I saw earlier this week Amazon and a few other companies have signaled that they're going to make huge job cuts, thousands of jobs. I mean, one article said 14,000, but this is what I found a tweet. I'll pull it up. Let's see here. But it's just like it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
What are your thoughts on AI?
Uh,
What are your thoughts on I guess the day-to-day use of it and then the future of it?
I think I think it's bad. I think any sort of dependency on it is bad. I think there needs to be regulation. That's something I really didn't like that they didn't include in the big beautiful bill. I think AI regulation is something that needed to be in there. And this is a perfect example, right? UPS 48,000 employees being laid off. Amazon up to 30,000, Intel 24,000. And then we can go down the list, right? Um and I think there's an important question here of what is actually happening because we know that the AI infrastructure in the country is growing immensely. Um, but how do we know that they're not just shipping these jobs overseas, right? They could just be shipping them
Yeah.
to, I don't know, wherever. Just as like offshore teams, basically. I
Hmm.
mean, I'm sure that a lot of these are because of AI, right? You lay off the people in the management and logistics positions, and you can just implement AI to streamline everything.
It's such an easy out. Yeah. It's a well, I was reading about it. Yeah, and some companies are just well, I guess how do you disprove that you're using those jobs or using AI for those jobs? Or how do you prove it?
Yeah, you
You know,
don't.
it's an easy out for a significant amount of layoffs.
I guess we'll have to see if the payroll actually decreases. But it's hard to say because they could be funneling money into foreign offshore teams through like a backdoor, right? It's not
Mhm.
could it might not necessarily be on their payroll. They could like contract out work to a foreign agency or something for pennies on
Someone
the
said
dollar.
someone said AI is a great tool that really needs limits.
Are you getting
I
comments?
agree. Yeah, I got one.
Okay, mine wasn't loading, so I'm gonna refresh.
Your stream might just be
Okay,
slightly delayed, but yeah,
yeah.
I agree with that. I think it has its benefits. I think people put too much trust in it
Hmm. Yeah,
because the majority of your day-to-day searches on AI are not this all-knowing computer program. It's surfing the web faster than you can, and it's coming up with a response based on a lot of times based on what someone else has already put out there.
it's just it's not necessarily thinking about the information, it's just pulling it from what is already on the internet.
Yeah, I guess it depends on what you use it for. You know, if you're asking it a question about some real event, that's in the sense that it's just surfing the web for, you know, thousands of times faster than you can for what other people are saying about it. But it has its, like, I guess, cool feature where it can make up stories and come up with
It,
its own things. But
yeah,
again, it's all based on what's already out there.
it has. I will say it has time saving utility. Like if you're
Mhm.
trying to, I don't know how good it is at this, right? If you want to say like, oh, pull up 5 articles relating to this topic on this day or whatever, right? It can search the internet and do that instead of you doing it. But it's like then it's kind of lazy. Like you could search through these articles yourself and find better articles more likely than the AI would. But I think another important question, and this is something that I heard. I was watching an episode of Breaking Points, and they were talking about how people are getting addicted to interacting with the AI and treating it like a person.
Yeah.
That's a real problem.
I think I mean, we can talk more on that, but I think another topic that is severely overlooked is how detrimental it is to the education system.
Mm-hmm.
It is, I mean, we started to see it, uh, but even over the last couple of years, it is like it is severely overused in the education system, and I don't know about you, at least from my experience, it was wrong the majority of the time.
Yeah, I mean, when we were finishing up college, it was kind of like, yeah, you might be able to use it for some things, and a lot of people did use it for a lot of things. There was a lot of AI use towards the end of our 4 years, but it was like it didn't really work too well for us. It was and not that we used it, but like we would test it because we were curious about the capabilities for our application. It
Well,
at the
we
time
tried
it
to use
was
it, realized it was wrong.
yeah, like you're it just makes
But
stuff up, or at least at the time
yeah,
it just made stuff up. So, but I mean, people still used it, and I'm sure people still turned in
and
papers with stuff that was completely wrong, and the professor's like, "How did you get this?"
there's been multiple, like, you know, real time evidence of people tricking it into giving wrong answers.
Mm-hmm.
Like some guy got it to say that 1 + 1 is 3,
Yep. Yeah.
and
You
it's
can
if it's that easily manipulated, is it really something that you want to base important daily decisions or answers on?
no, and I mean, daily decisions. You're basing company decisions off of what the AI thinks,
Yeah,
quote unquote, what the AI is processing. 30,000 people from Amazon, 48,000 from UPS. UPS going into its busiest season of the entire year, and you're laying off 48,000 people. You're cut. I think it's an important conversation to have that you're also cutting off such a huge portion of the people that are actually using your services. Like these people will be buying from you in the holiday season, right?
and then how do you recover from the increasing unemployment rate, and who do you blame it on?
You just I blame it on. I don't. There's no one else to blame besides greedy corporations. Like AI is such a
Do you,
gray area because it's like more corporate regulation. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But how
do
do
you
you
think it was
incentivize
created with
companies
good
to?
intentions?
No, I
You don't
think
think there were any good intentions with it being created?
AI.
Yeah.
No, I think AI is modeling itself after humans, which is like, I guess it's like it goes back to kind of a Christian belief, right? Like that people are created in the image of God. AI is creating,
Absolutely.
or the people created AI in the image of people, but the AI is like,
Will never be
I
created in
think
the
it's like
image
a,
of
I think
God.
it's like a. This may sound kind of wonky, but it's like a satanic, demonic sort of thing. That's eventually like, there's no
It's
real,
anti-human.
yeah, there's no real off ramp for AI. It's just like an exponential growth until it's smarter and stronger than all humans and can create its own army basically and just wipe people out. And we've
The
seen
poor
this in
use of free
movies,
will.
right? Like it's not even far fetched.
Yeah.
We've seen this. There's many movies about this same scenario happening. AI becomes ultra powerful, ultra intelligent, which I guess it's already ultra intelligent because it has access to all the information ever.
Yeah, but they're training to start to feel emotion, or well, it can't feel emotion, but express emotion, and that goes back to your point of people are getting addicted to the human element of it.
And that's just manipulation. Like you're like, oh, you train it to express sadness, so then it like leads you to express more of your own sadness because you can treat it like a therapist of sorts, and it's just gaining or learning information about you. And I don't think that information will be used for anything good.
Yeah, just before this episode, I looked up what is the Operation Alpha podcast, and the first thing it said is the Alpha podcast is hosted by Luke and Tyler.
Yeah,
And the fact
that was
you know,
weird.
the fact that we are currently this small of a podcast and only have what, this is our 5th episode out, and it even knows that is crazy.
I mean, I'm glad it didn't know anything deeper than
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I did try to push it a little further, and it didn't go into that anymore.
I just want to send a quick give a quick question to the chat. How does my I want you guys to tell me how my mic sounds. I watched some of the footage back last week, and I noticed that my mic was pretty quiet compared to Tyler's. And also, some of the videos were really loud, so I tried to mess with some of the volume. But if you guys could just give me some feedback, that'd be great.
And I can certainly turn mine down if that is
I mean, I can turn yours down on here too with my mixer, but I just didn't. I'm not actively listening to the feedback while we're doing this, so. And I guess it could depend on how close I am to the mic or whatever, but yeah, just let me know in the comments if it sounds fine, whatever. I'd appreciate it. And of course,
you sound great on my end.
Oh, thanks. Of course, leave comments, ask us questions. There's not a crazy week. Definitely some interesting stories, but not too crazy of a week. So if you got questions about anything that's going on,
yeah,
let me know.
We had planned on kind of riffing off on a good portion of this episode.
Yeah. Another thing that is really important about AI infrastructure is just the sheer amount of energy that it uses. I pulled up an article I started reading. By 2030, data centers are projected to require $6.7 trillion worldwide to keep pace with the demand for compute power. And like we wonder every day. We're like, our energy's not getting cheaper. And
this is why
they're building these facilities in obscure locations in the plains in the United States. I think Virginia, is it Virginia or West Virginia, has a ton of AI data centers. I know they're building them in the Ohio River Valley because you need an immense amount of water to cool the processing equipment in these facilities. But they're just massive, and it's like politicians can say, "Oh, we're gonna lower your energy prices." All this, it's like, but how is AI actually benefiting us, right? You create this giant, like 2 square mile complex.
It's a supercomputer.
An AI literally supercomputer, and you have maybe like 50 employees that are just maintenance and janitors. That does not help the community. That does not help society.
Do you remember how? I mean, I guess this is on a much smaller scale and more of a niche topic, but the prices of computer components when like Bitcoin mining and crypto mining became pretty big, and then now take that and scale it up. I mean, I don't even have a number on how high you scale it up.
I don't think I don't even think it really compares. Like, that was big for its time, but this is like our country cannot keep up. The rate that we're building these facilities, the energy crisis that we're already kind of in, and I don't think it's necessarily a coincidence that now we're trying to do regime change in Venezuela to provide the United States access to their precious minerals, their rare earths, and their oil. We're gonna need so much energy, and the United States also just bought what is it? They're leasing 3,000 acres, or the Air Force is leasing 3,000 acres to build private AI data facilities because we want to compete with China at the technological level in terms of computing, which we are definitely behind. But is this the solution? This is I think this is there's no effective gain from this. I think there's only a net negative on the entire country.
It's becoming a severe invasion of privacy as well, or it at least will. I mean, I think we talked about this last week. The digital IDs and this is just a gateway to all these potential terrible things that can come from AI.
Yeah, you just have a massive facility that knows everything about you, is just storing information.
I mean, I'm sure there already is.
Yeah.
It's only going to get worse though.
Yeah, and it's just like it's like money printing, I guess. Like you're just no one you're just like making money out of nothing. Like yeah, these facilities are going to be huge money makers, but who's getting that money? None of that money is going to the middle class. Right? It's going to billionaires who are just going to build more and more AI facilities, and these are subsidized by the federal government. And you just continue to take jobs away as you increase the demand for energy, increase the demand for water, for resources, for minerals that go into building these facilities and operations. It's not sustainable, and I don't think many people even think about this. Like, just look up some of these data centers. You just your mind will be blown, because it's not even something that you can imagine.
Can't comprehend it.
Yeah, and I don't. It's hard to understand how bad this can make things. And not even a long amount of time. Like this could come up very quickly.
It already has. I mean, when did like the first release of ChatGPT
It had to have been when we were in college.
Yeah.
Maybe
22, 21, 22.
I think it was around there. And I remember it was definitely novel. It was novel.
Yeah.
We're like
it was fun to play with when it first came out, because I mean, not at least for me, I didn't really know much about it. Yeah, the only thing that I really knew about AI was whatever I saw in, like you said, movies or TV shows, where it's kind of a concept.
Yeah, I mean, I guess to make the comparison to like a human, it's like a kid, right?
Yeah.
It's like you're just, oh, hey kid, you're curious, and it's cute, and it seems harmless, and then it grows up. Not that kids are all gonna grow up to be harmful, but like it grows up, and you're okay. This is serious. This is not a joke anymore.
It's a problem.
Yeah. This is a problem, and I think there should have been a moratorium on regulation. I think that the Trump administration not wanting to regulate AI is so bad. I think most people are probably going to think, oh, well, it doesn't really affect me. You know, I don't live in a state where they're going to be building these data centers. You don't know that for now. Your job could be at risk. If you're an accountant, if you're a data analyst, or if you do like data entry, any of these, and this is another Breaking Points episode I was watching today. The college graduate class of 2025 are struggling so hard to find jobs now, because all these entry-level jobs can be taken over by AI. Like, you have like an assistant job. You don't need an assistant if you have an AI agent or whatever to file and organize everything for you.
Wait till it takes over news too. I mean, we think news is bad now. Wait till it's no longer done by a human.
Yeah.
And it can all be controlled from one place.
Just like a data center is like a news conglomerate and it's just pumping out information.
Communism.
See, stuff like this makes me like I already want to move out into the middle of nowhere where no one can find me, but this just makes me want to do it that much more.
Yep. Doesn't matter where you go though. AI can find you.
Yeah. M. Noonan had a good comment here. He agrees. While I don't love regulation in general, forbidding regulation for a certain time is not good. I think it's like I gotta try to think of a good analogy for like what sort of regulation I think is good for the country besides like a precedent of regulation that is that the United States regulates now. Like I guess you have to regulate war, right? Like you can't just go and like there are laws against crime in being violent, right? And that's just normal. That's a moral law. You're setting a law so that people don't kill each other, hurt each other because morally it's wrong and we know that it's wrong. It's not really a question of whether it's wrong. And if you have questions of whether or not that's wrong, then I think then there are deeper issues within you. But
Why? Yeah. I mean, why don't we increase the cost of energy to power facilities like this the same way we increase the cost that people have to pay if they make more money?
I think that is actually probably a good solution that the cost of energy for these specific industries needs to be increased and the cost that normal people pay should be decreased. Like the rate, I
Or
guess. So the
or
rate,
force them to be self-sustaining.
yeah,
Force them to be on
that
their own
too.
grid.
Yeah. I know they build their own substations at these facilities because they're just so massive. Or they require so much power. Um but I think something that's really interesting about it is I don't think you could go up to any of the CEOs of the major AI companies and say, "What is good about AI?" Do you think that they would actually be able to give you an answer that makes sense? They're going to say it streamlines, it can organize, it can time reduction. Long term, none of that stuff is good. You're just removing the human element from society.
And the hard part is you really can't regulate the use of it, like the
Yeah.
public use of it. You have to find another way to regulate it on a corporate level.
Mm. I think you'd have to just do financial detriment, but
Yeah.
I think another part of the financial cloud surrounding AI is that I think it's being used to kind of prop up a facade of a strong economy, right? So you have these companies that are increasing the GDP, increasing the stock market, or the stock market still going up. But you have the middle class is just suffering, right?
Oh yeah,
Food is
the
expensive,
working
energy is
class. Yeah.
expensive, but your GDP is going up and your stock market is going up. And these companies are just basically money printers. They're just making so much money. And the current administration can say, "Oh well, the GDP is going up. Our economy is doing better than ever by the numbers." It's like what do the numbers actually say?
Yeah. It's because it's not the working class that's increasing the GDP.
Mhm. Yeah. It's
But
it's
I
nothing
mean,
really.
yeah. How do you prove that? How do you prove what's actually increasing?
I guess it's a measure of what are the metrics of a strong economy? Is it the GDP? Is it the stock
Low
market reaching
unemployment.
all-time highs? Is it low unemployment? Um, I
Average
think
household
something that's going to
average
be very
household
telling
income.
of AI is that it's absolutely going to increase unemployment. But
Yeah.
this is a statistic, or not a statistic, but something that someone made me aware of. Um, Something I was watching that a part of the unemployment statistics that the Federal Bureau of Labor uses to like come out with the actual unemployment number, like you can work like an hour in a span of 2 weeks, right? And that could still be considered some sort of employment, right? So you might not fall under that unemployed category. But if you're working an hour over an 80-hour pay period, I would not consider that structurally employed or consistently employed, right?
Really? I didn't know that. So there's no minimum required hours to
I
be
mean,
considered employed?
it's just kind of like wordplay, like
Yeah. I mean,
because
you
like
can
you
bend
say, okay, yeah,
say
this
whatever
person's
you want.
employed. They worked an hour. They worked for a company for an hour, right? Doesn't
Yeah.
by the standards, it doesn't necessarily mean they're unemployed. But I think we're gonna see a shift. I think it is 100% certain that people will lose their jobs, are losing their jobs, as we can see from the numbers that I presented a little bit ago, about over 100,000 layoffs just from what we saw there. And there's more to come. They're not unless some sort of regulation is put into place. These AI facilities are just gonna continue to be built. No,
And
no stopping the train here.
then the price of SNAP benefits goes even higher.
Yeah, and then the burden of benefits on the federal government increases even more, and it's not like we're
And then taxes go up, and then it hurts the working class even more. It's just
yeah,
a
it's
never-ending
it's
loop.
it's a never-ending cycle, and you're gonna tax people more that aren't even working because they can't find jobs. I don't know. I it doesn't look good. I think AI is like something that could be the end of a normal civilization. What we see as normal, with people working, providing for themselves. Um, I don't think it goes anywhere good. I think it's like an antichrist type
Yeah, I think,
entity.
and I think that the name artificial intelligence is so ironic
Mm.
in the sense that anytime you read anything is artificial, you have some sort of negative connotation to it, like artificial sweeteners, artificial food products, and then you see this artificial intelligence, and suddenly, I would say the majority of people, the majority of users, somehow find a positive connotation in there, and that's when it starts to get abused. I know that's like a such a maybe funny thing to say,
I agree with
but
that
it's
though.
all fake. It's all fake, and I just think that's what people don't really understand.
At a certain point, I don't think that there's a reason to create certain things.
Yeah,
I think this is just greed, just to create something to make your life
you have
easier.
to
I,
you have to look at where would we be without AI, and I would argue that we would be better off without it, in the sense that people would be better educated. People would, I mean, there would be more jobs out there. The cost of energy would go down. Land wouldn't be torn down and replaced with a
well, that's another thing,
high
right?
energy.
Land prices. The amount of
Yeah.
land that's required to build these facilities. The demand for land is already extremely high in a nation where there aren't enough houses for the amount of people that need them. And these companies just buy up vast amounts of land and suck that area dry of its resources just to have
Yeah.
a facility that
And
basically
then
hires no one.
all that surrounding property
That
gets
the
devalued.
yes, the property value is virtually worthless, and the energy prices are so high. There's not even a reason to live there.
And all those people that currently own homes can't sell them now because no one they're going to lose money on it.
Yeah, uh, I guess it's something that is going to drive people to the mountains, right? Which living in the mountains is already expensive, but I don't facilities like this can't really function in mountainous areas. Just they just can't. It's hard to
Hmm.
build infrastructure in the mountains to begin with, but I think it's going to drive people there. I mean, just like COVID drove people to the outskirts of civilization, I think this is going to do it more. Trying to get
Yeah.
away because you realize that this has a financial impact on everything, the entire community. I had another point that I was going to say, and I kind of forgot what it was. Oh, so another use of AI that's completely immoral is the use of target identification in world conflict. So Israel used this um, this program called Lavender to find Palestinian targets that were allegedly Hamas, right? So they'd use the program in surveillance drones to basically seek out people that were allegedly Hamas fighters and go kill them. So this program would basically decide if this person should be killed or not, right? And you're entirely faithful in this AI software that it's gonna select the target based on true information. It's not just saying like this will be beneficial to me because it will prove me as a service and prove me as a functioning software that I can identify targets based
Hey,
on
maybe
facial
that's how we're
recognition.
finding all the drug boats.
AI, I hope not. We haven't seen any of that intelligence. We've just heard that there is intelligence.
Yep.
I think we had two more drug boats getting blown up this week. And big news on that, the largest warship in the world moved into the Caribbean, the USS Gerald Ford, nuclear-powered aircraft carrier. Yeah, I don't want to necessarily move on from AI. I think this is good discussion to have, but I
Yeah.
just think that's also important. We could be building nuclear facilities and providing clean, cheap energy to the entire
Abundant
country,
energy. Yeah.
and we could be negotiating with Venezuela to buy cheap oil, but instead we want to build AI data centers. So then we have to try and regime change foreign nations to get resources that we could have otherwise negotiated for because our energy requirement is so extremely high for no reason, for companies that don't provide significant jobs to Americans and that really just remove jobs from Americans, drive every cost up.
I think it's so sad that the public is so scared about nuclear energy
Yeah.
because of a select few incidents that occurred.
And not to say that in certain situations it can't be dangerous, but in the situations that we have seen in the past that have been um, kind of put at the forefront of expressing the dangers of nuclear technology, there were so many things wrong with the safety mechanisms that were, or in some cases were not in place or properly functioning at these facilities that caused these incidents.
So, yeah, let me add on to that. First point is I would encourage anyone to look up the statistics of fatalities at fossil fuel burning power plants and even clean energy, wind turbine plants. And then also do some independent research on the cause of the fatalities at nuclear plants. Like I'm going to take Chernobyl for example. That was operator negligence.
Mm-hmm.
That was they were I think they were running a test and the reactor started overheating, and don't quote me on this, but I believe there was a point in time at which it could have been reversed and shut down, and it went too far to the point that it was irreversible. But again, compare the statistics of deaths due to nuclear plants versus yearly deaths at any other power producing facilities that we use currently.
And yeah, I think you're right about the Chernobyl thing. I think they were doing a test and they said they were like, "Oh, look, it can do this," and it's like they had an opportunity to reverse it, but they said no, it'll be fine. Like this
Mm-hmm.
thing is foolproof, and obviously it was not fine. It melted down, and that caused a lot of damage, and a lot of people. I think not that many
And
people died in the beginning, right? I think it was tens of people that died initially, and then there was fallout, and obviously people got cancer
yeah,
afterwards. But there's abundant wildlife there now. Not that the fallout won't remain for another, I don't know, 20,000 years or whatever it is.
yeah, I don't know what the half life is of.
But then like compared to, like you said, the fossil fuel deaths in the country, I think that's, I know it's a lot. I know it's far more than nuclear. And how many countries have successful nuclear operations? The United States has successful nuclear operations.
Yeah.
I know that we're shutting them down in favor of wind turbines, which to me aren't really a proven thing of whether or not they're beneficial enough to the power grid at scale to have a significant impact and not detrimental to the ocean environment. I believe that they're detrimental to the ocean environment. I think that they can help the power grid, but I think our energy demands cannot be met by wind. I don't think it's sustainable enough. And
No, I
they
mean,
bury the if I can add, when the
yeah,
windmill blades are deemed to be no longer usable or have like reached their life of use, I don't know how long it is, 20 years maybe. They just bury them in the desert in Wyoming because the material is so complex and goes through so many stages of um, like melting down and combining certain different materials that they're no longer usable and you can't break them down for other uses. They just have to bury them. There's nothing else that they can do. Just burying fiberglass in the desert in Wyoming. So I just wanted to add that.
also the I happen to be somewhat knowledgeable on this topic, and the energy that's produced from a entire field of wind turbines doesn't even compare to what's produced by a large building-sized fossil fuel plant.
Yeah.
In other words, you would need, square miles of these things, and solar panels too. You would need square miles of these things in order to even compare to the energy produced from a typical fossil fuel plant.
Yeah, and I think hydroelectric is good too, because you're just basically using energy that's already there.
It's somewhat
But
free energy, yeah.
but at the same by the same token, I don't think it produces that much energy, right? There's not enough water in the
It's
country
not
to.
sustainable. Yeah,
No,
it's not sustainable.
it's not
That's the
enough.
problem. And
Um,
in every clean energy source, granted I am not against clean energy. I'm also not against fossil fuel energy. But the thing that you have to consider is, in order for wind turbines to produce energy, you need wind. In order for solar panels to produce energy, you need sun. And in order for hydroelectric to produce energy, you need flowing water.
yeah,
I mean, geothermal is pretty guaranteed, but it's extremely expensive, and the output is doesn't necessarily outweigh the cost and the input required.
yeah, and I think the key with nuclear is just investing in the technology. I know I think it was a couple years back that they successfully did like the first fusion experiment where they actually created energy from nothing. So I mean that's something. I think that's down the line a little bit. I know that
Mm.
in the United Kingdom they're assembling a fusion reactor, a decently large scale, at least as a test.
Was that like the was that I could be making this up, but was that like the particle accelerator?
I think it's like I
Because I
don't
thought I
quote me
remember
on
reading
this,
something about
right?
that.
But from the experiment that I think it's like just two particles clashing together at extremely high speed, which would be like a particle accelerator, right? And this specific experiment, I think the input of energy to create the reaction was like 2 megajoules, and I think they got 3 out of it. So it's like a creation of 1 from an input, or a creation of 3 by an input of 2, right? So you're creating energy out of nothing, realistically. Yeah, I would urge
Is
you
that
to do more research in that because I'm not very
yeah?
knowledgeable, but that's my understanding. My very
Hmm,
vague understanding.
interesting. Yeah.
That's just something to invest in, right? Like, I don't think we're at the
No,
point where we can.
instead we should invest in AI facilities that consume
Yeah,
more energy than
we
we're willing
currently
to produce.
have no technology to actually produce the energy requirements or to meet the energy requirements, right? Uh, insane, just absolutely insane.
I think people look at things in too much of a microscopic level and don't look at the big picture enough.
Well, yeah, like wind turbines sound good, and it sounds like it's like oh, this is gonna save the environment because there's not smoke going into the air when you're burning these things.
Yeah, and
Okay,
like
but at the same
y-
time, you could just invest in um air filtering facilities.
And the benefit of investing in nuclear facilities while we already have technology, the benefit might not come for another 100 years.
Hmm.
But there's something about the supposed immediate benefit of AI that I think people are intrigued to. It's the instant gratification of it, whereas not looking at the long term of, okay, might not be in my lifetime, but in 100 or a couple 100 years from now, where can we be in terms of energy, rather than this instant gratification of AI. You know what I mean?
I guess that's kind of like the boomer
It's a
mindset of
far-fetched idea, but
society,
yeah,
right? You like completely drain society of everything it's worth and leave nothing for the rest because you think that society needs to work for what it deserves.
it's
So
like
you
what
leave it
should
in a
we
worse place than you
be?
found it.
Yeah, what should we really be investing our time and money into?
We're gonna have to invest our time and money in rebuilding this country from the ground up at this rate. I mean, once boomers reach, they're currently reaching like the fall off point of um, like the life expectancy, right? Like boomers are now reaching 79, 80 years old at the high end.
Hmm.
And the class, like I don't want anyone to die, right? But I think we're this group in society that financially has kind of torn things up and left this huge financial and societal problem for the rest of society whose age demographic does not compare in size at all. For
Hmm.
all the generations that came after them are getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, but have to somehow make up an even larger financial gap and kind of create money out of nothing to try and fix the problem that they have contributed to mostly. And it's housing prices, the fall of the economy, removal of the gold standard, energy crisis. I'm not blaming boomers for AI. I think that genuinely they're kind of amazed by it and don't really know that much about it, right?
Understand it? Yeah.
But in big corporations like BlackRock and private equity firms that own
Vanguard,
so much real
BlackRock.
estate
Ooh,
and
this is
just
a super off-topic thing,
yeah, go for it.
but do you? I think I think putting a restriction or even potentially a ban, but probably a restriction on corporations over a certain size from buying residential property, because I think that is one of the leading causes of the housing market being so high.
Yeah, or at least like a limit on the number of properties, maybe.
Yeah, because I guess, yeah, I mean, I guess what happens is you say corporations over, you know, $500 million or so, or $1 billion can't buy residential property, and all they do is split off to a smaller LLC and buy property in that name. So yeah,
Yeah,
I guess maybe limiting
it's.
the number of.
I'm sure that's a hard thing to regulate. I don't exactly know how you do that, but there needs to be some way to incentivize companies to not do that, or at least deter them,
Mhm.
because I forget how many trillions of dollars BlackRock manages in terms of its assets, but our generation is trying to buy homes at double their actual value from private equity firms.
With an interest rate that you'll never be able to catch up on.
Yeah, with
But that's,
interest rates that make the monthly payment our salary basically, or not
yeah.
our salary, but like our monthly income,
Hmm.
or even more. Like the housing prices now are not comparable to our salary as they were 50 years ago. Not at all. Not 25 years ago. Not even 10 years ago. Housing prices are exponentially increasing and wages are not. And this might
Nope.
sound like a liberal view, right? But this ties into one of the other issues that I want to discuss here. We talk about like stagnant wages. That's the sign of a failing economy, and I don't think that the housing market being what it is representative of actual home value. But you can't say that like okay, these houses aren't worth that. We're not going to pay that. It has to be a collective effort by the entire buyer's market to be like, we're not going to pay this and we're just going to wait it out, because then the housing prices and the sellers will be forced to reduce prices or at least take a lower offer. But if people are still
Yeah.
buying houses at the prices that they're being listed, it's just going to keep driving it up.
I think it's as much. Yes, I do think it's attributed to a failing economy, but I also think it's corporate greed.
Yeah. I don't even know how do you um organically influence higher wage. Well, I know how you organically influence higher wages. I think this is a good segue into another topic I want to talk about. Not just, well, I wanted to talk about H-1B visas, but not just H-1Bs, but like foreign labor as a whole, and just and this is like illegal immigration too, right? I guess the low skill jobs and blue collar jobs that are that companies can pay illegal immigrants less money, they're gonna choose that over an
Hmm.
American citizen who they have to pay a fair wage and benefits.
Hey, do you want to before we move on to topics, do you want to do our thing here,
Oh yeah,
or do
let's do it.
you want to keep going?
No,
All
let's
right,
do it. We
all
got
right.
something special for you today. Um,
Yeah,
I'll just
we
I'm
got
gonna
a fun
switch.
little segment.
We got a fun little segment, so I'm gonna switch to this video and we're gonna do it. So get ready for this. Um, this is our segment. And I'm gonna tell you what our plan here is, right? So we have each gathered some news headlines that the other person does not know about. And so some of them could be real, some of them could be fake, and it's up to us and even you guys in the comments to guess which one of these headlines is real and which one is fake. So if you want to take it away here, give me that first headline.
Sure, sure. All right. This one is Republican Mike Lawler plugs quote lying sack of shit Andrew Cuomo for New York City mayor as lesser of two evils over Mamdani.
You know, it's
Now you have
something
to
that
tell me, is that real or is that made up?
that's something that seems like it would be fake, but I'm gonna say that that's real. Just because of all the stuff that's coming out against Mamdani, I think that's
Yeah,
real.
that is a New York Post headline.
And that's crazy that that is real. You know.
All right, go ahead.
Um. All right. So this one isn't necessarily political, but it's United States. More than 1,000 historic artifacts stolen in California museum heist.
Ooh,
More than
see that seems
1,000 historic artifacts stolen in California museum heist.
a lot of heist stuff going on. I think you made that up. I
Is
think
that your
that's
final
fake.
answer?
Yeah,
That one is real. This
that
is
one's
from like a
real.
day ago. Yeah.
Really?
A museum in California was another heist like the Louvre, but this time struck the
Yeah.
U.S. I'll let you go to your next one.
All right. All right, here it is. A frog, a lobster, and a unicorn walked into a No Kings protest.
Oh, you know that it kind of seems realistic. I think that's got to be fake, right?
No, that is an
Are you
NPR
kidding?
headline.
You're
That is an
kidding.
NPR headline. I'm not kidding.
What are we coming to?
All
So what's the
right.
background on that? Do you have any
I
background?
s- no, so yeah, so it was I guess a couple people dressed up in like the inflatable Halloween costumes,
Uh
and there was a frog, a lobster, and a unicorn.
that's actually that's very believable.
It is, yeah.
Okay. What Okay, here's my second one. White House announces emergency plan to lower grocery prices after inflation poll numbers slip.
Oh, that's so real. Yeah, I'm going. That's
Going with
real.
the real? That one is
Yeah.
fake. The White House does not
Really?
actually care about your grocery prices, despite them saying so.
That sounds like it would be. Yeah, no, that sounds like it would be posted as a wrongfully hopeful article.
Yeah, well, this is something that they should try to focus on, right? But
Mm. All right, here's my next one here. As the government shutdown continues, Trump states he will, quote, negotiate a deal once he gets off the 18th hole.
that's gotta be fake, right?
That one is fake. That one is fake.
um, JD Vance outs MAGA bestie as years-long UFO believer.
See, that sounds fake, but I really want to believe that's real.
JD Vance outs MAGA bestie as years-long UFO believer.
I hope that's fake. We're gonna say fake.
That is real. He's talking about
No.
Marco Rubio.
No way.
Yeah, that's I was
Oh.
surprised too.
All right. Let's see, what do we got? All right, here we go. Kash Patel, accused of flying $60 million FBI jet to visit girlfriend, claims it was a top secret mission to investigate matters of the heart.
Fake, right?
That one is fake, but he did take the FBI jet to
Ah,
go. He did. I'm not kidding. He did take the $60 million FBI jet to go fly and see his girlfriend. I think sing or dance at a WWE event.
oh, that's crazy. All right. Snap shutdown will leave Texas students like me hungry. I'm not saying like me. Snap shutdown will leave Texas students like me hungry.
That's real.
Yeah, that's real. I just thought it was
That's real,
funny
yeah.
how he
Okay.
the,
Yeah.
the author of the article wrote like me in the title.
All
Not
right,
that
you
funny,
ready?
but I thought it was funny. Yeah, go for it.
Tucker Carlson solicits marriage counseling from squirrely virgin Nick Fuentes.
I'm sorry I called you gay.
Oh,
That's got to be real.
that is real.
Because
that is real.
I guess he did give like I don't know, marriage advice. I guess he was talking about the state of marriage, right? And
That is freebeacon.com, and that is a wild news headline.
yeah, that's funny. Um,
It just. Oh, you got another one, right?
yeah. Okay, last one.
Okay, go ahead.
This one might be easy. Um, Pentagon says no troops. Pentagon says, "quote No troops will be deployed in South America."
That's fake.
Yeah, that's fake.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, everybody. That's fake. They did not say that, and I think they want troops deployed in South America. So
It's hopeful, but
yeah, it's a little too hopeful. That one's right off the dome.
you know what? I think this is a segment that we'll bring back every once in a while, and I think it's a both funny and entertaining, but I also think it's a tribute to how sometimes outrageous some news headlines can be.
Yeah,
I mean, we just saw it
yeah.
there that some of them we thought were fake, were real, and some of them we thought were real, were fake, and that the fact that they were believable enough to think they were real is crazy.
Yeah, it's hard to know sometimes, man.
Did you go? Hold on, you might have gone. Did you go 5 for 5 on my end? No, I think you went 4 for 5.
I think
That the frog, lobster, and unicorn one, I think you got wrong, but I think you got the other 4 right.
I think you went like 2 for 5.
Yeah, I did not do good. I did not do
That's
good.
all right. Better luck next time. If you guys
Yeah.
enjoyed that segment, leave a like, leave a comment.
Yeah, let us know.
Let us know, because we're gonna try and do some more
We have a couple
unique type ideas, kind of spice things up a
Yeah.
little bit instead of just a normal political talk, because I know that can get old. That's the point of the show, is to talk about issues, but try to lighten the mood a little bit. I think that's important.
Would you ever get? I know we did this on our, I'm gonna call it season 1, but would you ever get back into the conspiracy game? Or I guess not really conspiracies, because more so we went through stuff that was released and proven, but
Mm-hmm.
older, outdated news, we'll call it.
Yeah, I think the history of the stuff that's happened in the past is important, even if you're talking about, especially if you're talking about conspiracies, right? Like, I remember we were talking about Operation Northwoods. That was a big one I harped on in season 1. If we're talking about
LSD
season
trials.
1, right? These are we in 2022 we started a in-person podcast when we were at school. We were just posting it on YouTube.
Spotify, yeah.
Yeah,
You
YouTube
can
and
go
Spotify.
find the episodes.
I haven't even posted these on Spotify. I have to do that at some point.
Yeah.
But
Our most, I said the most recent title last episode, I think.
oh, did you?
Yeah.
They're still
it
up
was,
on Spotify, right?
Yeah, they are. The most recent one was Brittany Griner for The Merchant of Death.
Oh, that was crazy. That was crazy.
Yeah, we have Liver King is juiced up.
That was a crazy realization. We all knew it, but
yeah.
But yeah, Operation Northwoods is something I talked about in one of the episodes, or maybe multiple, but it's a conspiracy involving the United States government that they were planning on. This is during the Cuban Missile Crisis when JFK was president.
Oh yeah.
So they were.
I remember this.
They had like plans to commit false flag attacks on United States airliners and blame it on the Cuban government, so that we would go to war with them. They would just like down a plane full of college students.
And it went all the way to the president's desk.
Mm-hmm. And JFK said no.
JFK.
And then he died.
No.
And I get suspicious, right? But that's not concrete evidence. It's just JFK wasn't necessarily a fan of the inner workings of the CIA. As like a clandestine organization. I think one of my favorite
episodes was the LSD trial episode. I think that was
that was a crazy
one.
Yeah. That was
And someday, if we keep this, someday when we keep this podcast going long enough, maybe when we're old and retired, we can talk about the Epstein list.
Oh yeah, when that gets released, right?
When that gets released in like 200 years.
That's probably my favorite part about scrolling through Twitter is seeing the president, or not the president because he doesn't use Twitter, but like the vice president post something, right? And all the comments would be like, release the Epstein files. It doesn't even matter what the topic is that
anything
he's talking
political,
about.
Yeah.
Anything. It's hilarious. That is what we need. Keep that up.
Yeah,
we're not gonna stop until those are released, because that's a problem.
And you know what's a beautiful thing about that too? It is arguably the one thing that everyone is agreed upon.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't care how far left you are or how far right you are. It seems like everyone has collectively come together to say, release the list, release the Epstein files.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of the issues of our time, right? If we can't have transparency on a case like this, and there was talk of pardoning Jeffrey Epstein's partner in crime, and we find out that allegedly the former prime minister of Israel was sexually assaulting one of the known victims of Epstein, and was known to have frequently visited his New York apartment and give him money to the tune of millions of dollars, with a cadence too, like installments of money.
Can I tell you what's arguably worse, for me at least, than the lack of transparency. It's the active, blatant, terrible excuses
Mm.
of what's the word? Like covering it up poorly.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, some of these things are just sad excuses. I mean, someone in who's talented enough in Microsoft Paint could do a better job than the government is
Covering this
doing
up.
trying to than covering this up. Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, and then saying that it's a hoax and like who cares about the Epstein files? I do. I care.
Yeah. I don't know many people who don't care.
I don't care what side you're on. If you're a pedophile or someone who's covering up pedophilia or sex crimes, you could rot in hell. I do not care. Yeah, you have no place in society, in my opinion. And there's some people that don't necessarily agree with that, right? You have that Israeli AI official that was in the United States got arrested for in a sex sting by the FBI, got released on bond, and went right back to Israel, and allegedly is supposed to face trial. He's not going to come back. You just let him go. He was going to. His plan was to have sex with someone who's underage, and he just gets to go back to his country. Like,
Yeah.
no, that's not okay, actually, and I don't like living in a country where that is allowed. I just, it is
How'd we
very
get here?
angering. Yeah, how did we
How
get
did we
here?
get here?
I mean, it's not known for the government to do things that are necessarily trustworthy, but this is something that I think both sides can agree is wrong.
Hmm.
They should agree is wrong. That is wrong, and it's just like kind of held in front of us to tease us and say, "Oh no, this is I don't know. You guys shouldn't care about this. It's a hoax. Like focus on other things." And then other things happen. They're just like, hey, you just forget about it. More important issues to deal with. It's like, yeah, there are other important things happening that we need to focus on, all of them. But you can't just gloss over this. This is like this could be the blackmail operation of the century.
Stop putting your faith in the government and put your faith in God.
Yep, amen to that. Ah, man, I really wanted to wear my sweater. I'll have to break it out for the Christmas episode.
uh, yeah, well, we had talked about both dressing up for funny occasions. I know we kind of missed the Halloween uh dress up, but yeah, we'll do a Christmas, and then maybe we'll start dressing formally here for these
Yeah, I think
episodes.
that'd be cool. Like I have told you so many times, I currently don't have a suit, so I need to get one. I think it'd
Yeah,
be
for
cool
those
to
of you who don't know,
suit up.
Luke has gained like 100 pounds since
I've
we
gotten
were
so
last doing
I've
these
gotten so
these
fat I can't
podcasts.
fit in my suit that I
uh
wore. I was commencement ball,
yeah.
and
Oh,
I did wear that suit for interviews and stuff too, but it does not fit me now. So yeah, it sucks. You know, when you spend a lot of money on something, you're like, yeah, this is gonna. And I was thinking at the time, I was like, this will last me a long time, right? No.
yeah, this guy drinks like 4 gallons of milk a week. What do you expect? uh
Yeah, that's not exaggeration either.
no, and they're all paid for by food stamps too. So he's really upset that he won't get his milk next week.
And to circle back on that topic, I have seen people in YouTube comments saying, "Yeah, I'm disabled. I receive food stamp benefits. I am willing to hold out here because this is wrong. People getting handouts when they're abusing handouts is wrong." And I was like, that sucks that you have to go through that when you're someone who actually is falls within the deserving category of receiving benefits because you can't help yourself, you're permanently disabled, whatever. It's like you have to feel as though you have to hold out because other people are abusing the system that is supposed to help people.
Hmm.
I think that if you're not someone who falls within the category which should be deemed accepted. Um, I don't think that are actually helping you. I think these benefits are just making you dependent and dumbing you down, making you a non-productive member of society.
Yep, and the longer you go without a job, the harder it is to get one.
Yeah. Um, so I know I briefly touched on the foreign labor stuff, but I wanted to get into that more because um, the Trump administration recently increased the fee for H-1B visas. So it was ranged from $2,000 to $5,000 to apply for an H-1B visa, and now the fee has been up to $100,000. So, and just a statistic here. Out of the 400,000 H-1B visas approved in the 2024 financial year, 71% of the grantees were born in India, and China was a distant second at less than 12% of all applicants, or all grantees rather. So the people who actually received the visas. And I think this is just the demographic here doesn't necessarily matter. It's just kind of showing that most of these jobs are in the tech field, like tech giants, Amazon, Meta, Google, and consulting firms. Indians are usually well represented in the tech field. I don't think that's wrong to say. It's just statistically true. But 71% of the H-1B visa applications or grantees last year were Indians. 12% were Chinese. I saw a video of an Indian guy saying, "This is gonna hurt Indians. We depend on your country for good paying jobs, and this is gonna hurt us. Like, why?" And he literally said in the video, he's like, "Why is someone gonna choose me or hire me when they have to pay $100,000 for me to even get the job when they can just hire an American without paying the fee?" And it's like, no way! That's the whole point, moron!
That is the whole point, yeah.
Why are we subsidizing another country importing labor when Americans need jobs? It brings wages down. This is not America first. And it says within this article, I think it says in this article that wages are typically less for H-1B immigrants, and they can be from the range of or slightly less, and some people can equate the slightly less or the slight decrease in pay to the actual $2,000 to $5,000 fee. So they might slightly reduce the pay to account for that small fee.
Mm-hmm.
But there are certain jobs where they're being paid significantly less, and companies are simply undercutting American workers to hire cheap foreign labor. That's just a fact. It's just a fact.
It goes back to the corporate greed issue.
Yeah, just money printing. Just make as much money as possible with the least amount of responsibility.
I think this, in a way, while the government has options such as this to help it, but this goes to show that I would argue that unemployment isn't entirely contributed to the man in office.
No, I don't think so either. I think it kind of ebbs and flows. I think, excuse me, I think the president can affect those numbers and can impact the policy. I think this is a very good decision. I don't think you should just be able to come over here and basically get a free ticket to have access to any job. If the company in the United States can pay you less as a foreigner, why would they not choose you and choose an American they have to pay more?
I think this incentivizes taking the more qualified candidate rather than taking the candidate that's going to make you more money.
Yeah, I think this is really good. I talked a little bit about the illegal immigration, and they can be very productive workers, but that doesn't mean that you're not undercutting people who are actually citizens of this country, and undercutting as a whole the wages of this country. If you just are paying everyone less, then why would you, like this one guy who comes in and wants to build houses, who is an American citizen, wants what, $20 an hour and some benefits, why are you going to pay him when you can just pay someone $10 an hour with no benefits? Not saying that these wages are accurate to what
Yeah.
contractors actually pay, but I'm just like, as an example, why would you pay more?
In the long run, it's a smart financial decision to not take the American that's making 20 an hour with benefits.
Yeah, and it's like,
And that's the part that sucks.
yeah, you just should not be importing cheap labor, and you should not be exporting services to foreign countries either, right? We should not be exporting manufacturing. We shouldn't be importing labor. And then
I don't I guess I don't entirely disagree with foreign labor, but I don't think the incentive for it should be financially driven. Like I said, I think it should be the most qualified candidate. And
and
I think that,
I think this fee helps.
yeah, I think the fee helps in the sense that, I mean, it should be more expensive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you shouldn't just be able to do it for as like a way to just increase the amount of money your company makes. That being one of the sole reasons. And I think another topic within H-1B visas is the fact that you can just get the H-1B visa, get the experience in the United States, or get a visa program at a university and have the company pay for your studies or whatever, and then go back to the country that you came from. Right? Like, I think there should probably be some sort of a service commitment to the United States economy if you're going to receive a visa like this. It's not just a handout.
We did get a comment, by the way. Sorry, it's unrelated, but we did get a question.
Thoughts on the Mozzarella says, thoughts on the U.S. role in helping Jamaica recover from Hurricane Melissa. I guess we'll have to see what the aftermath is of that hurricane.
Ironic, considering the U.S. doesn't really help its own states recovering from natural disasters. But
yeah, that is a good point. Like, we really hold the FEMA money hostage based on the political aspirations of each state.
What was the hurricane that hit the East Coast, and we gave every family $500?
Oh, that was in North Carolina, right? I forget what that hurricane was, but it's immense flooding.
What? Yeah. What could you do with $500? Could you get how long could you live off of $500?
I think maybe a week. I don't know. That would just buy you food.
Yeah, and if you had any bills,
but where are you
gonna
buy the food from?
I'm sorry, I'm not laughing because it's funny. It's just ironic.
U.S. aid was dismantled earlier this year. It's bad. Yeah, I know that was like one of the worst. I think that was like the worst hurricane of the whole year. Category 5 hurricane hitting direct impact on Jamaica. I don't think it's bad to help out a country in need like that. I think there needs to be like, and I don't know if there's like an agreement of allification, like if we're allies with Jamaica or whatever, but I think if you're helping a country in situations like this, there needs to be a long-term agreement of trade, ways that both countries can benefit from this long-term. I guess Jamaica would never really be in the position to help America in the same way that we could help them here, right?
Well, let me put it this way. I haven't given it much thought, but I think I would rather our money go to a country that needs it after a natural disaster than sending it to countries in a meaningless war. How's that sound?
Yeah, I agree with that, because this actually has the ability to help people.
Relations.
Help real people.
Yeah, and real people and relations.
Yeah, you're not sending money to kill people. You're sending money to actually help people.
Yeah, whenever you're donating to a war, as much as you're helping one side, you're equally damaging the other, both physically and your relationship with them. So this seems like a somewhat neutral or even positive way to spend foreign aid.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess another another thing to add here is that this is within the United States sphere of influence, right? Like if there was a hurricane, or I don't know what they call them, typhoons or whatever, say something hit Africa or the Mediterranean, right? That is not within the United States, like the Western Hemisphere. It's not within our sphere of influence. So it would be
Mhm.
far more appropriate for those developed countries in that region of the world to help the countries that were affected in the Eastern Hemisphere than it would be for the United States. But since they're in our sphere of influence, I think it makes more sense for the United States as the great power in the region to help them out. I'm kind of okay with that. I think long term it'd be helpful to be in some sort of like trade agreement with them so we get some sort of benefit. Um, but yeah, I don't mind too much. I think it's good to actually help people instead of just sending money that funds a war that displaces the population that the war is against, and those people end up migrating to the United States, hating the United States, and possibly causing anarchy in the name of the war that we fought against their people. And this has happened in multiple groups, right? Where do most of the people from the world come from where we have engaged in aggressive military action is the Middle East. People from the Middle East are migrating all over the world because we have been there nonstop bombing.
I just sorry, I just thought of this as we were going through this conversation, and I don't know why I just saw it now, but I saw this fairly recently. But after 9/11, there was a tribe in Kenya that donated us 14 cows. Did you see that?
No. Would
Yeah,
you put that in
that's like
our chat?
no, I can. I saw it. I don't know why I saw it so recent. Maybe it was just like a meme post or something that I saw.
Hey, I'll
But
take
I'll toss it
14
in the chat.
cows.
But it's a gesture.
Yeah,
You know?
it is a gesture. It's not just
To
like
us, 14 cows might be relatively nothing,
but
but
to
to the
them,
tribe that
yeah.
donated it to us, it might have been half of their cows.
Yeah. And I think Mozzarella here made another comment. The U.S. aid was dismantled earlier this year. I think that's a good topic of conversation because, yeah, that was something, a pool of money that was donated to countries all around the world for various different programs. Some good and some really bad. And it's like, why are my tax dollars being wasted? I don't want to. I think one of them was drag shows in Ireland or something. That's stupid. I think in that situation, it's better to just cut the program at the trunk, completely dismantle it, and start from the bottom up.
Was that a Doge thing?
Yeah. When Doge was actually a thing, they looked into USAID and found all sorts of awful funding. And granted, it funded a lot of programs to deliver food and medical supplies and medicine to underdeveloped nations, which I don't entirely think is a bad thing. And then it just comes down to a question of whether or not that's the United States' responsibility to try to keep the entire world in check. Are we going to be the big brother to solve everyone's problems? I don't know if I agree with that necessarily. I do agree. I do think there comes a point where it's like there's too much spending internationally. But I think from like the Christian perspective, it's important to help people to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want too much of my tax dollars going towards that, but if some of my tax dollars are going towards a noble cause that truly helps people, I'm more okay with it than a war of aggression that's unnecessary and unlawful.
Yeah, I totally agree with you in that I do support helping countries in need, but I think so much of this foreign aid could be used toward further developing and bettering our domestic industries and our economy. How much did we give Ukraine and how much have we given Israel in terms of dollar values?
So we have
a
given
rough estimate.
Ukraine in the past, since the war started, I think it's like
recent,
130
yeah.
billion.
Okay.
Israel, we've given them over 31 billion in the past 2 years since October 7th.
Now
Um,
just imagine
but
what we could
hear me
do with
out.
that money.
In total, the amount of money that we've given Israel over the past, like, I think it was since 1967, or even since Israel was created, is like $400 billion.
Yeah. I mean, that is an insurmountable, that is a incomprehensible amount of money. And where would we be domestically
Well,
if even
and that
a
doesn't even
fraction of
include
that was put back into our own economy?
if you would consider Israel partially at fault for the wars that we engage in the Middle East, in which their leaders came to the United States Senate and said that these specific countries are at the top of the list for threats to you, the United States, and Israel. So I guess it's like whether or not you would say Israel is at fault for any of the wars in the Middle East, but that's $8 trillion on top of the 400 billion. I'd say they're at least partially at fault for having some influence in the United States decision to go over there and fight. And
Crazy.
not only money, lives. Lives were lost. Hundreds of thousands of soldiers, millions of people in the Middle East killed. So it's not just money. There's a death toll, and I think that cost is more than any amount of money could ever repay.
Can't put a dollar value on the human life.
No. But yeah, like you said, that's just like an amount of money that you can't even fathom. See, you're never getting that back. But imagine
No.
if that was um put in
That's a
if that amount of money was used to stimulate the American economy.
that's
Imagine
such a great
imagine
point.
at the time we used the money that we were giving to foreign nations to actually pay off our debt and focus on being a country that balanced the budget and didn't create a deficit every year. Imagine where we'd be.
No, that's such a great point that you made of we're never gonna get that back. Because I feel like even the deals that we've made of, okay, we're gonna lend you this money contingent on it being paid back over this amount of time. Have we ever been paid back the money that we've dished out?
I think
And
Israel would
I'm
make the
genuinely
claim that
asking
they
because I don't know.
no. I think Israel would make the claim that they pay us back in terms of providing us intelligence to fight these wars. Sometimes false intelligence, like telling us that Iraq had nuclear weapons, which they concretely did not have. There was no evidence that they had nuclear weapons, and we went in there, did regime change, found no nuclear weapons. I mean, the same thing about Iran, right? We did the strikes during the 12-day war with Iran, with the bunker busters and the B-2s, and now Netanyahu does an interview with Ben Shapiro and says Iran is the biggest threat to the world. Iran is only so far away from building a nuclear weapon. It's like we just stopped their ability to build a nuclear weapon. At least that's what we were supposed to be doing there. That was why we helped you out, because you said then, and you've been saying for the past 30 years that Iran has been months away or weeks away from building a nuclear weapon. And now they might actually want to pursue building one because we went over there and dropped bombs on them during the negotiations.
It's ironic in a way.
Yeah, it's a way to radicalize somebody. I mean, when you just see what your tax dollars are going towards and you have absolutely no control. You can try to use the loopholes, but it's not easy unless you have a business. Like you can't just you can try to go to the states with the lowest tax burden, the states that don't have an income tax, but you're still going to be paying the federal government. At the end of the day, you can't get away from it.
And that someday that's not even going to be an option because we can already see right now people are flooding to those states.
Yeah.
And those states are just becoming as bad as everywhere else is.
And I guess the tax burden is only increasing. Our debt, our interest on the debt every year is the biggest part of the budget that we focus on spending is the interest on the debt. There's still a deficit every year. And at some point, they're gonna come knocking and say, okay, now we really need more taxes.
This is another question that I don't know the answer to. When's the last time we had a net positive year?
This is. I think we should just look this up live. I think.
Yeah.
Can you hear my keyboard?
Yeah.
Sorry for the audience. My keyboard is so
We can
clicky.
always hear your keyboard.
So, 4 fiscal years from 1998 to 2001, the federal budget had a surplus. 128 billion was the 2001 budget surplus. Huh? You know what's
Now
funny?
That's very interesting.
You know what's funny?
Wait. No, I feel like you're gonna tell me. Go ahead. Because I think I don't want to come to any conclusions.
What happened in
Wait,
2001?
Wait, that is crazy.
I don't know if that's like
sorry, guys.
if
We're
that's
seeing this
wordplay.
live here.
Yeah, we're seeing this live. Uh-huh. So there had been deficits in the past, but concurrent surpluses after those deficits were able to pay back the debt that was owed. So in 1836, the debt was $37,000.
Now, can you do me a favor? Can you look up where we have been for the last couple of years in terms of where do we net the last couple of years in terms of
I think there's.
finances?
I think it's in this.
It goes to 2010.
Sorry for my keyboard again. This is just it's so loud.
2000 to 2029. How do we know about 2029's deficit already?
So 2000 there was a 236 million surplus. 2001 there was what did I say, 128? This is a hold on. All these are so convoluted. What is this? Federal surplus or deficit. Okay, I have a good chart here. I'm gonna pull it up. This is kind of interesting to look at. So you could see, let's go to 2001 here. I don't exactly know what this is. What are million? Oh, okay, in millions of dollars. So I think, what is it? January. This is, yeah, so this is showing positive. This is saying 189, but I think that's just like the data point on the graph. So that's $189 billion in a positive, a surplus. 2020, because COVID year, we have an $864 billion deficit.
Well, now, hold on. How do we justify that?
$660 billion deficit in 2021. This is COVID, so it's going to be exponentially worse. Stimulus payments.
So tell me where we got to $38 trillion in debt.
So you have the financial crisis here. You can kind of see this dip here. 48 billion, 100 billion, and the lowest point you get there.
You sum all that up. What do you equate to? What, five or so $trillion in that section right there?
Well, yeah, when you have interest on the debt that is like half of the. Well, now it's like. It's the biggest part of the spending every year is the interest.
You ever looked up the debt clock?
Do you want to look it up right now?
Yeah, pull up the debt clock.
So August 2025, our deficit is $350 billion. And like, look at this. There's this. I don't know what this surplus is. What, the beginning of the year? So this is like, as the year goes down, it's just like money spent basically.
That's our spending budget. That's positive
look at
right
it before
there,
2000 though. Look at this.
Yeah. Wait. Yeah. You follow that trend. How bad is this gonna be?
And then you have so many good years of surplus here.
This is a. What is this called? This is like a. I don't want to say it.
Let's look at the debt clock.
You're gonna have to close that out top right. Yeah.
38 trillion, 52 billion, 693 million. It's about to be 694 million. What do you get, $1 million
And then give it
every
a couple
10 seconds?
It'll be 695 million.
This is where we're at. They have a Doge clock. I don't know if that's accurate.
If you had any faith in our economy, I'm sorry if you're watching, because
Wealth per citizen, 518,000. It's a weird average. Wish I was a part of that average.
hey, do you think this is an interesting point? Do you think Social Security is going to exist by the time we get to the age to collect it?
No. This is saying like in this counter there's also like a social security cost, and the social security cost is 1.6 trillion. Is that trillion? Yeah, 1.6 trillion dollars. Medicare, Medicaid, 1.7 trillion. Interest on the debt, 970 billion.
Yeah, see, the craziest thing is Social Security is going out faster than it's coming in right now.
And U.S. total debt is 105 trillion dollars. That's not even an amount of money that you can fathom. Incomprehensible. It just like makes no sense. I don't even know what that would look like. That's probably like a stadium filled to the top with $100 bills. I'd imagine. I don't know. If I had to guess, that's what it would look like.
All right, here we go. Food stamp recipients, 41 million. 41.7 million. Yeah. That is kind of bottom right of center. Further down. It's one of the red ones in that group of 4 down there.
Okay, yes. So we have...
Oh, no, sorry. It's all the way bottom row.
Yep, okay. Food stamp recipients, 41.7 million. Oh, I think this is a good one. U.S. workforce versus not in labor force. So you have 104 million people not in the labor force. That doesn't necessarily mean unemployed. That could mean retired, children, whatever. 163 million people working. But how does that make sense? 163 million people working, but U.S. income taxpayers 113 million. That's a 50 million person disparity.
That's all the dead people that vote in every election.
That's not real. That's fake news. Dead people don't vote. I remember when I actually used to watch Steven Crowder before he kind of became a shill for Israel. I remember he would do during I think it was 2020. He went to houses for addresses that received ballots. Like he has an investigative group, and they had knowledge that people have been receiving ballots at addresses that didn't even exist. Like they'd go to the address and it was just an empty lot, or like they'd go somewhere and the person was dead. It'd be like one person living in the home and they received like 5 ballots. So I don't know. Widespread voter fraud, I don't really know. I can't say, but there definitely was some fishy stuff happening. I just don't think that there's enough evidence to prove that there was widespread voter fraud. Who even knows how much different it would have looked with Trump as president in 2020? Because look what we have now. How much different is it from Biden? I'd say the best, and to his credit, the best thing that's happened is the closing of the southern border. Spending hasn't gone down. Groceries haven't gone down. I'm going to keep saying this until it changes. Gas is just starting to go down a little bit. Depends on your state.
I think Doge was good, but that's not really Trump himself.
Doge was a really good idea, and I wish they would have followed through with it more and been more aggressive with the cuts.
Well,
I don't think you can go in there and be like, oh, we're gonna cut a little bit of this, just like cut some fat off. It's like you have to go in hardcore and be like, we're cutting this.
I think the thing that a lot of people didn't understand is it was only supposed to last for 180 days.
Yeah.
Like that was the only contract with Doge.
Yeah.
And
They've
so like when it ended, everyone came out with the, oh, Trump and Elon had a falling out and
mm,
Trump fired Elon, which I know they did have a falling out at one point
yeah.
because of their
That,
childish Twitter
that
comments
was
to each
that
other.
was
But
stupid. I think that Trump's more at fault from this than Elon. Trump immediately went to, oh, your companies can't survive without U.S. subsidies. That's bullshit. I think he's just jealous because Elon's richer than him. And Elon's far more
yeah,
intelligent than he is, and he's built extremely successful companies that Trump can't ever say that he did that. And he probably would like to take credit for subsidizing them, but um, and then Elon tweeted at him that he was in the Epstein files, which I thought was funny. Even if Elon didn't necessarily believe that, it's just something to rile up the crowd. So
uh,
that was really funny.
entertaining nonetheless, but childish.
Yeah, definitely childish. Like, and I think at Charlie Kirk's memorial they kind of made up, allegedly.
Yeah, I saw them kind of
Yeah, but
becoming civilized.
I don't know how much
Do we
different it
have
would have
is there anything else that we wanted to cover today?
been. Let me look in the topics here. It wasn't a busy week. So in terms of the Venezuela situation, the United States has done more flights over Venezuela, as like intimidation. But the president of Venezuela claims to have thwarted a U.S. intelligence operation, a CIA op. He claims that they caught some people doing covert action. I don't exactly know what they were doing, but he claims that he caught some people. So that's a development. Like I said, we have the Gerald Ford deployed to the Caribbean. Now we have this is the largest presence of the United States military in the Caribbean since the Cuban Missile Crisis. So it's been 60 years, more than 60 years, since this kind of military buildup in this region has happened. Kind of crazy.
Hey, are we gonna keep going? You mind if I take a quick pee break?
I mean, we can end. We're almost at 2 hours.
Okay.
I think. I don't know.
Well, let's wrap. We don't have to cut it.
We
can
don't have to
wrap
cut
up
it,
the
but yeah,
conversation.
we can wrap up. But I don't know. I guess my biggest.
I think it's a bold move to show that much force in the Caribbean at the moment, and I get why he's doing it. It's to show or to instill fear maybe into Maduro, but
He's trying to get them to either Maduro to step down or surrender himself, or someone within his close circle to have enough pressure from the bounty that's on his head to actually do something and turn him in or kill him or something. I think it's like if you don't, it's gonna be boots on the ground, airstrikes first. But
I think it's absolutely a good thing for our country to show strength, but I think it gets to a point where you're instigating potential conflict with maybe not enough benefit is the word.
well, yeah, like that's one of the mottos of this administration is like peace through strength, right? But now we're pursuing aggression through strength.
Aggression, yeah.
Or maybe that phrase doesn't necessarily make sense, but the United States government wants regime change. It's clear as day. They have said it. Marco Rubio wants regime change, and I think he's the hammer here, and Trump's kind of the nail. Rubio's just hammering away. This is his policy viewpoint, and Trump might just be like, okay, I believe you, I trust you, whatever. And Rubio is really hammering away, wanting this to happen. He's just a neocon. Rubio's a neocon, so this is entirely in his nature. I mean, he said some pretty vile things about the war in Gaza, that he didn't. So not exactly in the best taste. Um, I just don't think he really cares that much. I think he has some sort of
Nah, man.
vendetta against Venezuela for any sort of socialism or possible communism because he's a Cuban American and his family went through communism in Cuba.
We just want America first. That's all. Is that too much to ask?
And some people can make the argument that um, having a war with Venezuela would be America first because it's within our, like I said, within our sphere of influence. I don't exactly think that makes sense. Just because they're in our sphere of influence, they offered you a deal for cheap oil and rare earth minerals and gold, and you say no, um, we'd prefer to kill your president and start
Yeah,
a war
take
with your
over. Yeah,
country,
and still someone in your yeah.
put our soldiers on the line, put your civilians on the line, which is going to make you hate us. There's already mass immigration from Venezuela to the United States. Military action against them would only worsen that problem and influence more people from Venezuela to come to America. So, I think something that would benefit both countries is a deal, an economic deal where we buy things from them, and some sort of a deal where maybe they get like military backing or something, or we try to
Mm-hmm.
just have good relations with their leader and influence them for the betterment of their own country.
Sure. All right. You want to close it out?
Yeah, let's wrap up. Thanks for tuning in today. We had
Yeah.
almost a
Let us
2 hour
know.
show. Yeah, let us know
Yeah.
how we
Let us
did.
know what you think of the segment there, and if there's anything else you want to see, we plan on, like I said, we plan on doing a few other segments and bits. We should try to do at least one per episode, I would say.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea to try to do one per episode. Maybe not the same thing. Try something new. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll
See what
we'll
kind of
mix it up.
ideas we can think up.
And then if there's any other topics that you want us to cover, political or otherwise, we'd be happy to talk on it.
Yeah, and definitely like, comment, follow us on um, Rumble. Follow us on Twitter. I think
Follow us on Twitter, yeah.
the Twitter link is in Rumble somewhere on our account. You can watch us on YouTube, but I don't really care about YouTube that much. I just post them there because it's slightly more accessible than Rumble, I think. But thanks for tuning in. Glad to have you. We appreciate anybody who's willing to watch this. And if you watch all the way through, you're a real trooper because we've kind of been rambling.
Yeah.
But we hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Thanks, guys.